Buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to get really real and discuss all your favorite F words. Some may be fun, some probably fragile, but always focused on forgiving yourself for letting go of crap that never belonged to you in the first place. And now, your host for Just Go F Yourself, Lisa Moeller.
Hey, guys. What's happening? Happy August. What's up, Robs?
I was say happy August. Ooh, it's hot.
Isn't it?
Yeah. How are you?
Oh, still with the sinus infection.
Ugh, I know, right?
I hate to be Debbie Downer, but I'm on Anna-B's for the sinus infection, so I'm a little loopy today.
Well, how does that affect? I mean, I know you're probably a wine drinker, but how does that affect it when you're taking that medicine? You can't really drink anything, can you?
Well, you're not supposed to.
Oh, okay. So it's only if you don't say what you're doing.
That's
you're
just
allowed
a
to get away with it.
suggestion.
A suggestion.
You mean the little sleepy guy on the bottle? That little sleepy guy? It's like, oh, you shouldn't do this and that with it when you're taking this medication.
But you can do it while you're at home. I think they're more worried if we go out and drive a car. So I think you can legitimately get away with it if you do it at home.
Yeah. Well, you can still go out. That's why there's Uber, and my hubby likes to drive.
That's true.
He's the DD.
The double D.
The D.
And we're not talking about the boob size.
Nope. So, yeah, it's just been, I know I'm always a little loopy on the show, but today I might be a little loopier. I got some sinus pressure from hell.
Kick that little guy off the top of your head, man. Get that vice off,
dude,
right?
I know. It's crazy. So, it's just been, but next week is, end of next week, going on a little vacay. So that'll be nice.
Yay.
That'll be nice, yeah.
Can you say where?
I'm just going to we were going to go to Mexico, to Cabo, but decided with the Delta Kappa Beta situation, not going to go out of the country. So we're gonna hit Palm Springs, a beautiful resort we like there, and then also probably Laguna for a couple days. I don't know, just do some chilling beach action.
No, I keep thinking about this all the time, and I know that the coronavirus came around last year, but we're still dealing with variants.
Yeah.
I wonder what the owner of the Corona Beer Company, what went through his mind when he said, damn it, they took my name and now they ruined my beer. Because, I mean, I don't even see any Corona Beer commercials on TV anymore because of the coronavirus.
Well, could have been a good thing, could have been a bad thing. From a marketing perspective, which is how I like to look at it, it's like, that could be have a Corona for the Corona, but,
That's
whatever.
what I was thinking, man. Sit in the sun, get a little vitamin D rays,
right,
and drink your Corona. Because, what if you put some tequila in the Corona? Because tequila is supposed to help.
Tequila cures everything.
Right. That's why they say tequila.
That's right.
Exactly.
I think it'll kill whatever virus you got in you.
So put a shot of tequila inside your Corona beer and you're good to go.
All right. Maybe I'll do that when I get home.
That sounds like a great idea.
It might take away my sinus pain.
Lenny, you cooking dinner?
Okay. We could go on and on. You guys, we have an amazing guest on the show today. And by the way, welcome to Just Go F Yourself. I'm so sorry. Where we do a lot of forgiveness, and I have to forgive myself for a lot of things that come out of my mouth. So, that's just the way it is. We have an amazing guest with us today, amazing woman all the way from New Zealand. So jealous. It's winter time over there, and it's the middle of the afternoon. And her name is Faye Lawand. Faye Lawand. I would love to have this name, right?
Hollywood royalty,
totally
right
Hollywood.
There.
Faye, welcome to Just Go F Yourself. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to connect with you.
So happy to talk to you all the way from New Zealand, and it's your winter in the middle of the afternoon.
Yes, exactly.
And it is our summer, hot summer at almost nighttime here right now. Isn't
that so cool? Like, I'm literally coming to you from the future, like quite literally from the future.
You are.
Future day, future time of day, future season.
So we have a time traveler on the phone. I love it.
Our first.
Yes.
There you go. It's another F word, future.
Oh, good one. I love it. Our first time traveler into the future. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where's Michael J. Fox when you need him?
Yeah.
riding his skateboard.
So, Faye, let me give our listeners some background information on you. You've got an amazing career. Faye is an internal conflict resolution expert, international speaker, stress elimination specialist, which completely caught my attention, world-class trainer and relaxation coach with a single mission to free burnout professionals from needless limitations caused by an unregulated stress response. OMG. Do I need you in my life, Faye? OMFG. Faye, you're my angel. I need you. Okay, she's worked as an educator, coach, and mentor for over 20 years. Through her work and her own wellness journey, she has honed her innate listening skills, empathy, and knowledge to identify the source of internal conflict and develop a unique holistic solution for rapid recovery and healing. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to be talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know we're all going to learn so much from you. So tell us, I mean, first of all, how did you get to what you're doing? And I so believe in this because I myself have chronic health issues since like 1992 from growing up in a very, very dysfunctional, and when I say dysfunctional, I'm talking Jerry Springer on steroids, family. Right. And I stored it internally, and it's manifested as illness and disease and all kinds of crazy stuff in my body. So tell me what your journey has been and how you've gotten here.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. So it's kind of like a similar yet somewhat dissimilar story where stuff from the past, dysfunctions in my own childhood and my own upbringing were not looked at, they were not resolved, they weren't unpacked. Eventually, they manifested in chronic health conditions as well. Now, just a little bit brief story. So I was born actually in a conflict zone in Lebanon in the Middle East during a war. And my family and I I was like quite young when we left the war zone. I was about 4 or 5. And the story and the narrative that I always took with me as we were moving around from country to country is that, you know, we left the war early, we left the conflict early, we were unaffected by the war, we were unaffected by trouble, we were unaffected by stress. And while I consciously identified with that story, the experience internally in my nervous system was very, very different. And when things eventually came to a head in my life and everything started crumbling, because, you know, like when your nervous system, when your stress response is unregulated and your nervous system is out of balance, it doesn't just affect your physical health. It has trickle-down effects into all areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Your mental health, your emotional health, but also the quality of your relationships, your career, just the overall fulfillment of your life. So literally my life was crumbling all around me in every single possible area, And
how old were you in this when you were in the war zone? Then you immigrated to Canada, but from the Middle East. How old were you?
So I was about just turned 5 when we left.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so like young. So that's the whole point. Because later on, when I went back and I did a little bit of digging and I did the internal work to really unpack what was behind the current troubles in my life. My mind took me back to the root cause of the trouble. I'll tell you how the limitations manifested in my life. I mean, I was having massive dizzy spells, Lisa. You know, I would be working and I would drop off my seat. I would fall over my seat. I would be working out. I would have a fainting spell.
I understand this vertigo. I understand the vertigo thing. I suffer with that myself. Yes.
But Lisa, it's literally, if you think about it, it's literally your world is spinning out of control, quite literally, because the locus of control, that perception of control is lost.
Right.
It's lost because of the nervous system is still traumatized from earlier life experiences and it hasn't recharged and it hasn't reset.
Okay, so how do you go about, I know you can't talk about it in 45 minutes, but how do you start to put that all back together and to work through all that?
So interestingly, I've just created a little freebie, which I would love to share with your listeners. It's a 30-day calendar to recharge the nervous system with daily tools that you can put into place right away to start supporting your nervous system. Because here's the thing, Lisa, our nervous system is wired for wellness. Like, it's literally wired for wellness and well-being, and it's wired for fulfillment, and it's wired for optimal health. It really is. However, when we are constantly in that survival mode, in that doing mode, in that
fight or flight
mode, in that fight or flight mode, we're literally cut off from that other branch of the nervous system that knows how to provide us with the magical and extraordinary life that we dream of. And so that's the good news. Like, we're wired, biologically wired, with the capacities to live that way. Here's the problem. This is why most of us, or many of us, aren't living from that space, is that switch. You need to switch it on. The switch doesn't come on its own. We need to literally flip the switch through things that we do daily, regularly, and consistently to offset the negative effects of stress, trauma, overwhelm, and chaos.
Okay, tell me what that looks like. What does that look like for us that want to implement these things?
So when you get my calendar, you're going to be guided through one practice a day to do that, and they're very, very holistic things. So I'll give you some examples. Obviously, it's things that you need to do for your physical body, because when your physical body is in tension, your nervous system is going to be in tension, and the reverse is also true, Lisa, because your mind lives in your body. When your body is tense, your mind is going to be tense. When your mind is tense, your body is tense. And so when you start to release the tensions from the physical body, you start to release the tensions from the nervous system. And I'm not talking about just exercise, which is very important. I mean, I'm talking about the deeper issues in the body. Removing the tensions from your myofascia and from your meridians and from your vagus nerve and from your joints, really going deep where all of these energetics are stored. These survival energetics are stored. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of one cluster of activity. Another cluster
is that through a meditation that you provide, or what is it?
So there's meditations, but there's also like exercises, like that you just, so tapping is wonderful for that. All the vagus nerve exercises are wonderful for that. Guided body scans are wonderful for that. Doing myofascial release work is wonderful for that. Practices like yin yoga, tai chi that target the deeper physical structures of the body are so super supportive of the nervous system. But it's just like with anything, doing it once isn't going to, doing it, you'll experience the momentary benefit, but that's not going to have the transformative result we're after if we just do it once. And that's why I put together like a little system. So over 30 days, you can do one thing a day in order to start moving you towards that place of optimal health, happiness, and success, which your nervous system is wired to do for you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it's not enough. So when we're talking about the types of things to do, so it's not just enough to work with the body, because we know that when we experience burnout or when we experience an unregulated stress response, it affects the body, the mind, the emotions, and the lifestyle. And so we need to bring together practices to reverse that from all of these holistic areas. So it's also things like, your lifestyle, your relationship with technology, how you're consuming technology and when. What are you doing with substances like caffeine and alcohol? So we get into that.
I check all those boxes. Unhealthy. Both of them.
See, and the thing...
all of them. My husband's like, put that phone away an hour before bed. Put it away so the blue light isn't affecting your sleep. And it's true. I mean, if I don't look at my phone an hour and a half, 2 hours before I try to sleep, I sleep so much better. It's very, very true.
And it's not just the quality of the sleep that being mindful of technology is helpful with. It's also keeping keeping you connected and grounded to yourself, because when there's trauma or when there's an overregulated, an underregulated stress response, when our stress responses are underregulated, we're dissociated. The mind and the body are completely dissociated. Mm-hmm. And the more that we engage in mindless activities like scrolling,
distractions,
like all of those distracting things, the more we're perpetuating that disconnection. And when you're consuming, one is consuming, not you, Lisa, when one is consuming, news items and social media items right before sleep or right upon awakening, what you're doing basically is you're using the most fertile, the time where your mind is the most fertile and most suggestible, and you're implanting there ideas that are not your own, thoughts that are not your own, images that are not your own, opinions that are not your own, and you're starting to consume those first thing in the morning or last thing at night. You're out of yourself.
I did it last night at 11 o'clock. I went to put my phone on the charger, and I started down a black hole of pandemic Delta information. And I said, reading. And then I couldn't go to sleep. I had my sleepy time tea, and I still couldn't go to sleep. I was tossing and turning throughout the night, and I woke up severely anxious.
Of course you did.
It's like, God, I have to turn this crap off, because for me, who has, autoimmune, I have autoimmune issues. I've got nervous system issues. I have not mentioned this on the show, but I'm going to say it now. When my mom was pregnant with me, she took diet pills to not gain weight. And my brothers, I'm the youngest, and my older brothers, she gained weight with those pregnancies and didn't want to gain weight with me, so she took diet pills. So I honestly, I really think that fried my central nervous system, and I think I came out of the womb, just like ready to scream. While I was screaming, I always say that.
Lisa, and with people, so you've had an early life experience that has compromised your nervous system, just like I did. And for people like us, and like the clients that we serve and we support, it becomes even more imperative that we prioritize support for the nervous system, so that the nervous system can support us.
Right.
You talk about, when I look, for example, at my husband's life experience has been very different to mine, very, very different. He grew up in this beautiful country of New Zealand in a totally functional home, no trauma, no trouble, no political crises, none of that. His nervous system is so robust. It's incredible. It's incredible how innately resilient he is.
I have a husband just like that. I like to say it's because he's Pisces, right? But no, he grew up in a normal family.
Well, so those adverse childhood experiences that we now know about did not adversely impact their nervous systems. But for people like us, who have had adverse childhood experiences that impacted our nervous system, the only way to remain happy, healthy, and well is to support and care for the nervous system. That because once you do that, the nervous system will care for you. It's a part of your anatomy that is there to support all your intentions for life, health, wealth, happiness, and well-being.
So are you a proponent of for PTSD, for EMDR or somatic therapy?
100%, 100%, mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm also a big proponent of, and that's when we go into emotional and mental, tracing back the root cause of the trigger of the imbalance of the nervous system. Basically, what is internally conflicting the nervous system and keeping it stuck in that fight, flight, freeze mode. That is needlessly limiting the way you live your life.
That's easy for me to answer. It's my family.
and look, and the thing is.
In a nutshell,
it's another F word.
That's another F word. There's a lot of really good F words.
Effing family.
Effing family.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic, fabulous.
Right.
Yeah. Not.
But it's not just knowing it. I mean, knowing it is important, but it's actually letting it go from the nervous system and from the subconscious mind. that's the big game changer. It's and also the same thing. It's the same thing with forgiveness or any of those positive emotions and positive internal states that are so important for us to know about, to experience, but to embody. And embodiment isn't done through willpower. It's done through feeling it internally. And you can't feel it internally by willing it. You need to remove what's in the way of it being an embodied internal state.
And you've got to be willing to do the work, right? I mean, it's
Totally.
so many times we'll be like, oh, I'm over that. I'm just whatever. They made me mad, but you don't, that stuff, if it's traumatic, if it's truly traumatic and it lives in your body and it's stored 100%. Up in there and we don't even know until it comes out into some catastrophic event, later on, unfortunately. Yes. But how do we go about that? I mean, for our listeners that, aren't as well versed in their mental health issues as we are.
Well, look, I think it's also really important to, here's another F word for you, friend. To be a friend to ourselves, kind of like just pay attention to ourselves. This is why I'm such a proponent of mindfulness and meditation practices. Lisa, I truly, honestly believe that in the 21st century, given all of the pressures and the fast-paced nature of the way we live, and the way we live that's all about externalizing us, we don't stand a chance if we don't take time out regularly to pay attention on purpose to the things we want to feel and experience more of. So, cultivating, even if it's a 5-minute, but you call it whatever you want. You want to call it mindfulness or meditation or paying attention on purpose, where you're just intentional about where your attention goes. It's going to be a life-changing practice. Mm-hmm. As you start bringing attention to yourself, to the way you feel, to the way your body feels, to the way you are breathing, to the way that what your mind is doing, you'll start to get clues and downloads of what's going on and what you need to do about it. And it's only when you actually know what's going on the inside that that's the first step to then doing something to resolve it. Because with all of these traumas and all of these internal conflicts and all of these internal limitations, their nature is so subconscious. They're all underneath the surface. Most of the time, we're not aware of them. And just because we're not aware of them, it doesn't mean that they're not there.
Right.
And so as you start paying attention on purpose on what's underneath the surface, you start becoming familiar. That's another F word. You start becoming familiar with what's there. And and don't forget, your nervous system, your intuition is there to serve your life and to support you.
Absolutely.
And
yes,
then
it is.
slowly, you'll start to know what's not working. And then the nature of the world is such, and the quantum world is such, that opportunities will start opening up for you. You'll listen to something, you'll read something, you'll watch something, you'll have a conversation where you'll be guided to where you need to go next. But it's just taking that first step of, saying, I'm going to start paying attention to myself and start really becoming my own psychologist, my own best friend, my own therapist, really my own GP, because no one knows your body and your mind and your life better than yourself and better than your internal minds.
Absolutely. We've got to be our own advocates inside and outside.
Yeah.
And I really feel like our intuition is really, it's listening to our intuition is really like exercising a muscle. If we ignore it and we don't exercise it on a regular basis and listen to it and act on it, it's going to atrophy. And I really feel that. And I'm a big proponent of my gut instinct and my intuition. Yeah. I mean, I really am, not just being a female, but I'm a little bit, I'm not a little bit, I'm a lot empathic. And I listen to those messages, and I try to make decisions accordingly, not in a crazy way, but it helps. It really does. When we tune in.
And here's the thing with the gut, with the gut instincts and intuition. The more we strengthen the gut, both on a physical, nutrition, biochemical, but also energetic level, the more we strengthen the nervous system. And the more we strengthen the nervous system, the more we strengthen the gut, because it's just another part of our nervous system. It's just another brain. So, it all works together. But really the biggest game changer is to have the courage to let go on to let go of the loads you have been carrying on the inside that you are not aware of, and that remain stored in your nervous system and in your mind, and that are creating the imbalances that are showing up in chronic conditions. I mean, because the body knows how to sleep, Lisa. Mm-hmm. The body knows how to digest food. The body knows how to have babies. The body knows how to eliminate. The body knows how to switch off anti-inflammatory pathways. The body knows how to be focused. The mind knows how to be focused. The spirit knows how to be joyous.
I just had this very conversation with a holistic heart doctor today about. He's like, your body has what it needs. I was telling him about stem cells and how I put mesenchymal stem cells into my body for my chronic inflammation. He said, your body has enough stem cells. It has its own. It has them. We just have to get them healthy. They just have to be fed the right nutrients, and so it all makes perfect sense, right? Like our universe, our God, our creator made us in such a way that's pretty miraculous, and gave us
Absolutely.
What we need.
And self-sufficient.
Yeah, and we just have to treat our temple correctly and with more dignity and respect. And unfortunately, when you grow up in a situation that's traumatic and you experience so much negativity, and I call the stuff I've been through my life dumping the bullshit backpack, because it just gets too heavy. It's too heavy. Yeah. We get to a point in life where we just got to lay that shit down and stop carrying it throughout our life and stop letting it affect our health, right? So we've talked about that multiple times, and I'm saying it not only for the listeners to hear, but for repetitive, for my own mind. So true.
For sure, because it makes so much sense that when we don't deal with what's there underneath the surface, that it is going to eventually show up in a way that is going to grab our attention and stop us in our tracks. And that way is in our physical body.
Right.
And, that's why I say it is the needless limitations of chronic conditions, because it doesn't need to be this way, because we were not designed to live in chronic conditions, with chronic health conditions. We were designed for the opposite. And just as I was saying, the mind and the body know how to do all of this stuff. And here's the thing, when it's not happening, it's because there's an internal conflict there. Mm-hmm. There's something that's conflicting, that's conflicting the mind and the body from doing what they were designed to do. And the process of removing it and resolving it is actually a lot simpler than most people would like to believe or put faith in. Because we're always looking for, something that's sophisticated and complex for us to pay attention to it or take it seriously. And it's most of the most effective and powerful methods and mechanisms for change are not complex. They're very easy.
Right. And you talk about the burnout epidemic. I think that's much more serious than the pandemic we've been in. Being burnt out in your life causes so many more breakdowns in your system that makes you more susceptible to, physical ailments such as COVID and, everything else that's out there. But
absolutely, and it also breaks down your the structures of your life that support your nervous system. So it becomes a vicious cycle. It breaks down your relationships. It breaks down your career. It breaks down your social networks. It breaks down your ability to go and do the things that are supporting and nourishing. And then that puts you in that perpetuated negative cycle of disconnection.
Well, how do you deal with that within a pandemic? The world is in crisis. Everyone's, paranoid and anxious and, upset and all that. How do you speak to that with the way the world is currently, and we're trying to quiet our nervous systems and tell ourselves everything's okay, it's going to be okay. I mean, how do you go about that?
Well, it's not okay. The thing is, it's not okay. Right. I think, what's the events of the past 18 months have impacted all 7 billion of us all 7 billion nervous systems in the same way, right? Of course, externally, our lives look very different. Some of us have been impacted more than others on external level. But internally, on a nervous system level, all 7 billion nervous systems on the planet have taken a massive, massive hit. And we need to acknowledge that because our nervous system needs to perceive, that's the word, perceive, safety and security. In the absence and familiarity, there you go. That's another F word.
Yeah, I like that one.
In the absence of familiarity and predictability and security, the nervous system is going to go into stress mode because things are uncertain. So this is very alarming to the nervous system. So it's going to be very vigilant. And all of us right now are in a vigilant and hypervigilant state. And then you add on top of it, Lisa, all of the, I don't want to say propaganda that we're fed, all of the messages that we're fed from the media around, self-isolation and stay away from people. I mean, we're not wired to be afraid of each other. We're not wired to be distanced from each other. We're not. So that adds another burden and another layer of stress and strain to our nervous system. And is it any wonder that the mental health situation is in such crisis mode like it is right now? And what the sad thing is we have yet to discover the depth and the extent of the burnout and the mental health challenges that this pandemic has created.
Yeah, I agree. And
and with young kids, I mean, the levels of as young brains are now being formed and forged, the imprints on them, the traumas.
Oh yeah.
And so I go back to my very first point, particularly because the world is going through the pains that it's going through right now, the unfamiliarity that it's going through right now. It is imperative we support and recharge the nervous system regularly, daily, and consistently.
Now, I know you have a plethora of ideas to give us, but what would be the top 3 things that we could take away from this to do to help ourselves with that?
Okay. Number 1, as I said earlier, pay attention to yourself. Don't ignore yourself. Don't ignore how you really feel. One of the worst things that we do, and it comes from a very kind of like well-intentioned program that many of us have been raised with, is to get on with it, or will it away, or pretend that it's not there. But here's the thing. I mean, you can pretend all you want that you're not angry, or you're not hurt, or you're not ashamed. But just because you're pretending that it's not there, it doesn't mean that it's not happening underneath the surface. It doesn't mean that internal response isn't impacting your biochemistry and your nervous system.
Right.
So please start paying attention to how you feel, honoring how you feel, and allowing how you feel to be there without judgment, without impunity, without force, without coercion, and also without trying to make anything happen. One of the most freeing things that we can do for ourselves is to just accept what is for what it is in this present moment.
Very good point. Yes,
Lisa, when we try to suppress how we feel, but that takes energy. That has to come from some part of us. So it's like we're borrowing energy, we're borrowing fuel from the part of ourselves, the part of our mind, the part of our nervous system that knows how to do life for us and well-being and health and all of those things that we're talking about. So that's kind of like one broad general idea that I go much deeper in all of my work. But that's one big general idea. The second big general idea is to develop a relationship with your subconscious mind. And really the best way to do that, the very best way to do that, and the easiest way to do that is, as we said, right before you sleep and right upon awakening. In those moments, you are literally in your subconscious, literally. I mean, your brainwaves have slowed down. So the subconscious mind is starting to open up.
Your body's doing what it's naturally meant to do at those times of the day.
Yeah. And so if the input there is negative, you're basically seeding your subconscious, the garden of your mind, with negative shit.
Yeah. Yes.
So why don't you use this natural innate time that has been programmed into us for transformation? That's why it's been programmed into us. Why don't we use that constructively? for positive benefits instead of, scrolling or watching shit right before you go to bed. And I mean, just spend time intentionally. Either by doing a body scan or meditation or visualization or getting clear on what you want or doing a gratitude practice or for forgiveness practice or journaling or like whatever. Like there's so many things that you can do during that time where your subconscious mind is at its prime in order to support your nervous system, in order to support your life instead of detracting from it.
And I have to say, even Netflix now has a show that you can turn on for meditation, which is so amazing. And you don't have to watch it; you can just listen to it as you're falling asleep or trying to wind down for the night. But I love it. What is the name? What's the name of that?
Isn't that so ironic? I just find that so ironic.
Yeah, it's very interesting that Netflix, which is what everybody's been binging on, finally puts on. I commend them for putting on a meditation channel and show that people can actually wind down to. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sign of the times, which is good. They're meeting people where they are, which is really good. And the third thing, Lisa, to do, kind of like the third bucket of practices and approaches, is to resolve the root cause of the imbalance of the nervous system. And I'll tell you, usually and typically, the root cause has to do with some sort of emotional toxicity. Resolve that. So that the mind isn't recreating that regularly on the inside. Because remember, your mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imaginary. So even if something happened in the past and it hasn't been resolved from the past, the mind and the nervous system are still reliving it from the past. And then when you accumulate event after event after event that has been unresolved from, the past or whatnot, eventually it's going to keep your nervous system hyper vigilant, hyper stimulated, and hyper stressed and hyper unable to provide you with the templates for, and I say templates, for optimal health, happiness, success, and well-being.
Well, that third one could be that could be a long list there, lady. On the third one.
We all have it though, Lisa. We all have shit that we haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
And here's my thing, that just because we haven't dealt with it, it doesn't mean it's not there. You cannot will some stuff you can't will away as much as you want to. And it's, you would be amazed at how quick and easy it is to resolve this stuff, because don't forget, your mind is there wanting you to resolve it.
Yes.
So your insomnia, all of your chronic symptoms, I'm not pointing the finger at you, your listeners,
we can.
all of your chronic symptoms, all of your chronic symptoms are cries from your mind to pay attention to what is the hurt, what is the unresolved hurt, what is the unresolved anger, what is the unresolved trauma, what is the unresolved shame behind that.
Mm-hmm. And are you a big writer? Do you like to journal and write this stuff out and get it out that way, or what how do we go about purging this from our systems?
Yeah, so I personally go through episodes. I have episodes of like journaling, which is really important. But for me, I'm a big proponent of working with modalities that work with the subconscious mind. My three favorites are timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, and havening. Mm-hmm. They have been massively transformational in my life experience and my recovery from chronic health conditions, and instrumental in the recovery journeys of the hundreds of burnt out clients that I support.
What was the last one you mentioned?
So it's hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, and havening.
Havening. What's havening? I don't know that one.
So havening is also working with the nervous system. It's an evidence-based practice, and it's basically looking to put your brain into a calm state, but in a waking state. So, when we're asleep, so delta is the delta state in the brain is the place in the brain where there's a lot of calm and a lot of internal healing that can happen, and a lot of consolidation of memories and emotional experiences. Typically, it's either babies or when we're in deep sleep that we reach delta. But you can access with havening, you can put your brain into a delta state, an awaking state, in order to use that natural innate state for healing therapeutic purposes.
Oh, wow.
Very, very powerful.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Powerful.
We do a thing called brain tap. I don't know if you've heard of brain tap. Dr. Patrick Porter invented it about 20 years ago, and my husband introduced me to it when we first got together. It was called Zen Frames at the time. It's now brain tap, and it's light and sound therapy that puts you into theta. It's the blue and the red. Is it red and blue lights therapy in your ears, and also a visor that comes down over your eyes, and then it hooks into programs that are stored on an app on your phone that coincide with the lights and the binaural beats and the sound. And it's pretty amazing putting you into theta. And we work with Dr. Porter, and he's fabulous. But that's another kind. That's similar. It sounds very similar to what you're talking about.
Yes, and it's there are many. What's that expression, Lisa? Many all roads lead to Rome, or something like that.
Yes,
isn't that the expression?
Yes.
There's so many modalities that you can use in order to reach your final destination. There's another F word for you: final destination.
Oh gosh. That's those movies that scare the crap out of me.
Somebody have words for you today.
I didn't even want to have my eyes. I had to have laser surgery on my eye. And I don't know if you ever saw the first Final. Did you see the first one, Rob? Final Destination.
I'm a horror movie fan.
Yeah. She was getting the radial keratotomy or whatever it was on her eyeball, and the laser went crazy and like burned her whole eyeball out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I don't want to do this thing right now. It reminded me of that whole movie when I. Anyways, that's another past trauma I just need to get through.
And the nature of the mind is such, like it's a bit like a little bit like an onion peel. You know, as long as we have a human body, as long as we have an embodied experience, we're going to have stuck emotions. We're going to have things to work through. And it becomes, peeled it's layer upon layer. You start clearing the first layer, and then other things will come up for resolution, not to haunt you, but as an opportunity for resolution, for you to be clean and clear. Because we were born clean, clear, and a blank slate. We were born pure. We really were.
Right.
We really were. And I really believe like the big cycle of life is for us to return to that purity, so that when we transition to the next phase, we transition as pure and as whole and as clean and as clear as we came out. And so our life journey is a life journey of removing and clearing and purifying those stuck experiences and those stuck emotions.
Right.
So that we can come back to our true selves. Because our true selves are very whole, and they're very complete, and they're very happy, and they're very healthy, and they're very fulfilled.
I love that.
That's another F word for you.
Fulfilled, amazing F word. And we're just all a bunch of friggin' onions on this planet, where you got to peel back the layers and peel back the layers, and right. And then our goal is to get transition and not be stinky.
And with every layer, you clear. It's like another breakthrough. It's another breakthrough and another opportunity to explore another dimension of the magic and the extraordinariness within us.
Yeah, absolutely. And another good analogy would be, we want to transition and learn in this life how be like an onion, but not make people cry. When we transition, we want to have peeled back the onion, but have made as few people cry as possible.
I love it.
How about that? That belongs on a shirt somehow. I don't know. I come up with these crazy things, and we put it on merch, and
it's great.
It's dumb. Anyway, thank you. So Faye, how would our audience receive your 30-day program, your calendar?
So I am. I can share the link. I can share the link with you so that you can. Can you link it on your notes or something?
Sure. If you want to, do you want to say it, and we'll link it as well, or either way.
So it's the 30-day. Hold on. Why should I? 30-day calendar to health, happiness, and success. I need to send you the URL.
Okay.
There's also a free Facebook page that I'm setting up where you get the support for the calendar. We'll be doing lives and having discussions there, and it's called the Nervous System Wellness Tribe on Facebook.
Okay, I'll pop into that.
Yeah, and there's also, if you go on to my website, which is currently under redesign and reconstruction, you can connect with me there. I offer free consultations where we can look at what's going on for you individually, so that you get a little bit of insight into what exactly is imbalancing your nervous system, because it's not what you think it is. It really is not what you think it is. I offer consultations and a bunch of other opportunities to work with me on the website. And it's just FayeLawand.com.
FayeLawand.com.
Yeah. And it's same handles on Instagram and social media, Facebook and LinkedIn.
I will never forget your name. It just rolls off the tongue. FayeLawand.com. If you ever need someone to do your promos, I'm your girl. Faye, since our show is all about forgiveness, what does Faye most need to forgive herself for as we wrap?
Oh my gosh. So right now I'm actually grappling with a little bit of the need to forgive perpetrators of lots of horror and terror in my home country of Lebanon. And it's a journey. It's not easy. It's not easy to forgive, I know, but it's the only way out. The only way to free yourself of this emotions is through forgiveness.
And these are things you need to forgive yourself for, or others?
Others and myself for not being able to forgive them.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
can't forgive people who intentionally cause brutality and harm to a whole population.
Absolutely not.
I find that really difficult to grapple with and to come to terms with. And so, it's a journey about how I come to that.
Right.
And I don't have the answers. It's just an intention now that I'm holding up. It's an inquiry. That's what it is. It's an inquiry.
Yeah. You put it out to the universe and the answers will come eventually, right? It doesn't have to happen right away. It can be a process sometimes with certain people or situations we need to forgive. Can be a process. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
And what about you?
Oh, me? I have so many things to forgive myself for. It would take another hour, Faye.
Okay.
I have.
Show me.
I always say my main thing is I need to forgive myself for being so hard on me, for just trying to get through life, and for the things that I had to experience just getting through life, and that weren't even my fault or my responsibility to forgive myself for. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
Totally. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Carrying a lot of guilt,
a lot
shame.
of stuff that is not our own.
A lot of stuff in the bullshit backpack that just that shit needs to be dumped on the side of the road and run over by a million trucks. So that's all I got to say. But we're trying to get that message out, and you have greatly helped us today with that. I so have enjoyed our time together, and I'd love to have you back again at another time.
Likewise. I love the work that you're doing. I love the message that you're putting out into the world. I think it's so important for us all to go F ourselves.
From your mouth to God's ears, baby. Thank you.
Gosh.
Thank you so much.
Great to connect. It's been great to connect. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, and you enjoy your afternoon and your beautiful winter months, and you take care of yourself and be safe.
Likewise. All right. See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so that's going to do it for another episode of Just Go F Yourself. I'm so thankful that you've tuned in. If you could go do me a favor anywhere you download your pods and find this one and subscribe, and share. I would so appreciate it. It'd be the coolest thing to do. And you can always find me at Lisa at justgofyourself.com or Real Lisa Moeller at Instagram. Shoot me some DMs, some messages, anything you want to talk about, your favorite F word, any of that. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, you guys, go live your best lives ever. Please, please. And always remember to just go forgive yourselves. We look forward to talking soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for taking this amazing ride with Lisa today. Join her again when she'll be exploring even more fantastic F words. So until then, just enjoy life's crazy ride. And always remember to just go F yourself.